Welcome to the Sanity Project podcast, where you can awaken your mind to clarity and success even in today's life challenges. We're here to provide insights and solutions that will help you live a sane, healthy, and prosperous life. Here's your host, Joanne Victoria.
Hi, this is Joanne Victoria with another amazing episode of the Sanity Project podcast. You are here to discover a life of clarity, confidence, sanity, and entrepreneurial success. Our guests today are phenomenal. It goes beyond the amazing way that I open up this podcast. Charlie Hartwell is the managing director of Bridge Builders Collaborative, a group of highly successful investors who have been investing in startup companies in the space of mental health, consciousness, and spirituality. Maureen Pelton, MSSW, is a social scientist and spiritual teacher with 36 years of professional experience as a holistic psychotherapist, executive coach, organizational consultant, adjunct faculty, and group facilitator, and is also a partner of Bridge Builders Collaborative. Welcome to the show, Charlie and Maureen.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Yeah,
I'm grateful that you are here. So your audience is listening to this, and I'm going to tell my audience, as I always do, at least once, if not more, to re-listen to this podcast. Re-listen and take notes, because you're going to miss a lot if you don't. So Charlie and Maureen are here to invite people to wake up and inspire them to go deeper. How can people go deeper?
So first they have to wake up, right?
Right. Well, there is, yeah.
and not push the snooze button, because we certainly get called throughout our lives to wake up. We certainly have opportunities. And when we do that, we realize that we are much more than our physical form, and even much more than our intellectual capacity. We are heartfelt, heart-centered beings that are navigating through this planet and trying our best to thrive and to bring our creativity and our brilliance out into the world and have an impact. So going deeper allows us to get out of the conditioning and the entrainment, allows us to get out of the limiting structures and the old patterns, and really embrace our brilliance, our creativity, and our ability to bring our uniqueness to the world through who we are and what we do, and as entrepreneurs, what we create.
Absolutely. We're masses of energy. We're not this bone structure that is presented. We're more than that. And having people understand that would help everyone else certainly be more successful and less agitated, less depressed. You know, it's the messy part when people go deeper, when they hit a hard time, is when they hit that wall, they don't realize that's a gift. To hit a wall, to get sick, maybe to lose someone in your life, or to go bankrupt, or something profound that affects you, is an opportunity to wake up. Have you found that in your work?
Well, I'll just say, when you went through that, I'm stubborn enough where it took many of the things you just described happening at the same time, as opposed to just one.
You and me both, Charlie. You and me both.
Yeah. So I think, and I'll just admit, I was quite stubborn, but the universe, kept sending signals, and the suffering finally got so bad that that's when I said yes. But part of me wishes I hadn't been so stubborn and seen the opportunities and the walls that you describe, and had gone for it earlier.
Well, I think I had a conversation with my daughter a while ago, and I have some insights to myself and, why I did what I did and why couldn't it be easier. And a couple of people, including my daughter, said, you wouldn't be you if you had it easy. So I'm saying the same to you. You learned more, obviously, because you have this huge business. But I know I learned more. I couldn't have learned it if my life were easy. That's not why I'm on this earth. I'm here to be an ordinary human being, hopefully making extraordinary strides for other people, helping them, and you as well, all three of us here in this conversation. I just don't think you learn until you get hit over the head enough and you go, oh, now I know what they meant.
Right. And, I want to add, I actually call them initiations, right? They're invitations and initiations. And when we go through them, because I've been through many, throughout my life, I don't think they ever stop because we keep growing. But the first one or two are really intense because you've not done it before and you don't really understand your capacity. But as you go through them, you start to recognize, oh, this is another initiation. It's going to be messy. I have tools. I have support. I can get through this. I don't know what the other side is going to be. That's the mystery. But I do know that if I just surrender and go, it's going to be a lot easier than if I resist and am stubborn like Charlie.
And Joanne, trust me, I'm a Taurus with 5 planets in Taurus. I'm here to learn patience, but I am stubborn.
Oh my God. I'm a Taurus too. That's so funny.
See, we're here signifying, yes, whoever decided astrology and Taurus were stubborn and impatient. We are here we're testifying. Okay. There's just nothing else that's going on. We're testifying. I'm the 17th of May. When's yours, Charlie?
April 30th.
Okay. Well, we've got it covered. And Maureen, you're probably some Aries, of course.
I live with fire.
Of course. Well, we're here to learn. Mm-hmm. We're on this earth to learn, and whatever time we have being alive in the concept that people, today accept, we're just here to learn something and hopefully share that. But even if we alone learn it and don't share that with anyone else, we have made it easier generationally for our children, our grandchildren, and people who have spent time with us, even if we don't do it on purpose.
Exactly. Yeah.
People tend to forget that. They think they have to be big time. Everybody's got to put on a show and write 12 books, be in 15 movies, speak on the stage, do a TEDx or a TED or whatever. Let's do a Joanne, let's do a Charlie, let's do a Maureen. All of this attachment to what the outside thrills are supposed to be.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, I just want to add that we do, when we shift, we do help our children, we do our relationship shift. And I have to say, working with all the people I worked with throughout my career, when they are going through a change and they are resistant and, they're struggling, I often will say to them, if they're parents, I'll say, well, if you can't do this for yourself, do this for your kids. And that usually would work. And that's an interesting concept in and of itself. It kind of reflects our lack of self-love. I mean, they'll do it because it'll benefit their kids, but not necessarily themselves.
Well, I believe we're here on this planet for the benefit of others, however we manifest that. You have businesses, you have degrees, you have knowledge, you have experience, and you're sharing it with the world, with the universe. We don't know who else is listening. We don't know. But it's really important that if you have the platform, use it. If you don't have the platform, look within and to your family. Mm-hmm. And it works. Mm-hmm. Because there's a change once a decision is made, in my personal experience. There's a change once I make a decision internally and decide to increase my energy by doing whatever processes I do. Everybody around me adjusts unconsciously. And I think that that's what people need to know who are listening to you talk about, how to live an impactful life, a sane one, hopefully, whatever that means to you. But we change people just by being ourselves.
Right. Well, what I would also want to add, though, is that when we change, and I've seen this quite a bit, when we've changed and evolved and changed how we're engaging, the people closest to us, it's not uncommon for them unconsciously to have resistance because, and this, this can be challenging for the one who's changing because the resistance isn't that they don't want what's best for that person. The resistance is then they have to shift and they're not wanting to shift. So sometimes in our growth and change, there are relationships that have, outlasted their usefulness and we have to let them go.
Yeah, I'm just synapsing in there. When I moved from the Bay Area in California up here to the Seattle area, I lost, this is going to sound silly. I lost a lot of friends. Mm-hmm. And nobody leaves. You have your little cocoon and everybody plays together, whatever, sort of. And then you find when you put your foot outside that circle, people resent you. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of resentment build up. I was in shock. I couldn't understand why people didn't want to continue to, I have a few friends left from that area, but it was just kind of odd because my life had nothing to do with them in that regard, but they thought I was deserting them.
Yeah. That's how, it's that fear of abandonment, even though it's not conscious or real, that does come up.
Okay, so Charlie, you talk about investing in startup companies in the space of mental health, consciousness, and spirituality. Talk about some of the businesses that you've done that with, that you've created that relationship with, and how it's benefited both sides.
Great. Well, that's a fun topic for me to talk about. So we're just about to make our 20th investment in this space. Some of the ones that people might have heard of are like Headspace, which really helped to bring meditation to the Western world in a way that it was acceptable and well marketed. They've had tens of millions of people download that. We invested in a company called Pear Therapeutics, which got the first 3 FDA approved drugs, 3 of the first 4 as software as either a drug, reimbursable drug, or software as a adjunct to pharmacological solution to a drug. We invested in a company called Happify Health, which is sort of gamified the science of positive psychology, mindfulness, and cognitive behavioral therapy, and is now being used in major Fortune 500 companies, 4 of the largest 5 insurance companies, and it itself is becoming a drug that is, partnering with pharma. We have, we have a company that is sort of a new digital therapeutic for suicide prevention. We have a company called True Love in Canada, which is really trying to revolutionize the gaming industry through a much more feminine approach to gaming versus our current gaming system, which is all pretty much based on masculine fight or flight. And then one others that I'll talk about is the Insight Timer, which is a platform of where 10,000 spiritual teachers around the world teaching in 44 languages meet with, 500,000 people every day. There's 19 million people that have downloaded the app, and it's a free global sort of community of consciousness where people can explore whatever content or courses or teachers that that resonate with them. Actually, Maureen is a teacher, one of the 10,000 teachers on Insight Timer. She teaches a course on conscious breathing and has a lot of embodiment practices that are freely available on the site. So when I step back and look at bridge builders, it's been fascinating to be pioneering investors, creating a whole new sort of global industry around mental health, consciousness, and spirituality, and trying to help make a difference in helping people to wake up and be more conscious.
And in your spare time?
I hang out with Maureen.
Well, that is an impressive list. companies and thoughts and adventures that you have. I call them all adventures. And I'm impressed. And especially there's a couple, I'll talk to you off air about them, but I'm impressed. And more to the fact that you're helping other people's lives become better, because that's what you're doing. And that's what's important, with the Headspace and Pear Therapeutics?
Pear Therapeutics, yeah.
Like the fruit. Okay. Pear Therapeutics. I write it down. Pear Therapeutics. That must be something else. All of these things that you're doing are benefiting people at as large of a scale as you can possibly do. So what kind of businesses are you looking for to add to your repertoire? So, you never know who's listening. So
well, I want to add that just 2 years ago, we shifted from the mindfulness mind training space into going deeper. And it's really important as we're looking at this next phase that Charlie's been deeply involved in, is that we're really looking at much deeper changes, stuff around trauma and around more transformational approaches and platforms. So this has been really fun. But Charlie,
so we're really comfortable when we're doing pioneering stuff that's kind of on the edge. Mm-hmm. And 2 years ago, mindfulness was on the edge. People kind of thought we were maybe a little crazy, and now mindfulness is pretty ubiquitous.
Yes.
So we're looking at things now, exploring what's happening in the psychedelic field, which is a whole burgeoning ecosystem that could really help humanity wake up if it's done correctly. We're looking at things around subtle energy. So as Maureen says, if we transform how we look at ourselves to being, energetic beings in physical form, having a human experience, then how do we begin to understand our energy system better? So we're looking at companies around that space. We're passionate about helping build conscious communities. Right now, a lot of the social networks and things that are out there are quite unconscious. They're all about
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's like, yeah.
So how do we get people on platforms where they can support their personal growth, where they feel they can be vulnerable, where, as they make choices to transform and awaken themselves, where they have a community that will, see them and value them, and where they can feel heard. And those are the types of things that we're looking at.
Yeah, I think you probably have a better time now than you would have had 10 or 20 years ago with this approach, with these, the psychedelic, the consciousness community, because everybody used to just talk about it. I came from a place in California, in Northern California, Marin County, that everybody was quote unquote conscious, but nobody was. And it was like, I would look, as I was growing up, in the most recent past, I observe a lot, and I watch, and I look at what people say and how they act and how it doesn't align. And I think people are ready. There's a Facebook group. What is on Facebook called Trans Surfing? I can't remember. I think that's what it is. Interesting concepts about surfing through the ether, literally surfing through the ether and making changes in their path. Now, it sounds a little off, but, I think it has some validity to it, and it can certainly be applied in any way that works for you. So, Maureen, tell me a little bit about your quantum neuro reset therapy work.
Okay. Yeah, so that is a modality that uses neurological testing and muscle testing and lasers and all kinds of fun things to let your body and your brain tell the story that needs to be reset. So whether it was an adverse childhood experience or a trauma or
conditioning,
some kind of conditioning or belief system, the client does not actually talk. The body actually tells you. Mm-hmm. And then when you do the reset, you clear that emotional pathway. And I've been trained in a lot of modalities, but I've never seen anything quite like this. It takes like 20 to 40 minutes and it is cleared. You are reset. And that is done. And people have drastic shifts in their lives. And even the people around them experience them to be quite different. So it's pretty new. It's about 10 years old. And I think there's probably about 80 or 90 of us certified. And I just love it because I've just not seen anything so efficient and effective in getting rid of, like the body keeps the score. So getting rid of what we're hanging on to that's causing an imbalance in our brain and impacting our nervous system and our adrenal system.
Yeah, I'm certainly familiar with muscle testing, but I'm not familiar with neuro testing. Mm-hmm. And do you use equipment?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yes. I just started reading a book that I don't have in front of me. A lot of brain testing, and I'll send you the title. You probably have read it. I can't remember it because right now I'm focused on this, but it was about neuro testing to some degree. I don't know how much, but I know there was a lot of talk about, taking pictures of the brain and how the brain functions.
Right.
And that intrigues me because I believe it comes from everything is in the body first. We hold it. That's where we hold it.
Right.
And that's the only place we can get rid of it.
Right.
So to those who are listening right now and those who know what you're talking about, God bless, go to their website at shiftit.com, shiftit.com. Those who don't know, what can they do today to start something right now because they're so excited about the topics that you've presented? What can they do right now to make that? Obviously, they can make a decision to contact you, but let's say they have an issue, a consideration, a concern that they're dealing with right now, whatever it might be, a decision that they're afraid of making because of something. Mm-hmm. How can they? What process can you give them to do if it includes, just breathing or pen and paper or taking a walk, something that they can do right now so they feel powerful, empowered?
Well, for me, you said it. It all starts with breath, right? So we are unconscious breathers. So just taking a moment to settle, whether you're walking in nature or you're listening to music or you're sitting there quietly, but to really just be aware of the breath, be aware of breathing, being aware of how you're breathing, being aware of how the breath feels in your body. And really, that really helps bring us into the present moment and to be able to just pay attention with neutrality, like just how, what I call the neutral observer, just how am I feeling in my body? Is anything drawing my attention? Just really feeling that breath. And then the other critical piece for me is intention setting. So what is the intention? If you have a decision to make, if you have something you're wanting to do, or, you're wondering what's next, the intention is everything. What is your intention? Is it your intention to reach for your highest potential? Is your intention to be kind and caring to yourself first and to others? And when you set that intention and you are able to just be present and pay attention, you do actually get a response. You do actually get the universe replying if you're paying attention and help to guide you and direct you versus your brain having to figure it out.
And can I just add one thing to that?
Please.
Like so many, at least in my experience, when you set that intention, if your brain is, at least my brain was always thinking, oh, I think it could be this or it could be that. Normally, at least in my experience, the universe responds in a way that is like more creative, imaginary, whatever than I could have ever conceived. And and a few times I didn't pay attention because it was so out of the ordinary that I just wasn't paying attention. So actually, I have to credit Maureen with sort of saying, "Oh, you set this intention and this thing came." I'm like, "Holy crap!" So,
right? Yeah.
The universe, I think, loves us. We are loved, and we set intentions, and don't limit what's possible.
That's it, people. Do not limit what is possible, and we do not know what's possible.
Right.
We have our own, it's easier just to don't limit ourselves, to just keep open to any possibility at all, rather than trying to figure out who knows better, you or God or the universe.
Right.
It's just a waste of time. Just get over that. Get over the ego, please.
Right.
The ego gets in the way and does everything. So we have many places that people can find you. So I said shiftit.com before. So what will they find when they go to your website, shiftit.com?
They'll find out about us and our work in the world, and a link to Bridge Builders Collaborative where they can find out about that work and the companies we invest in, and my Insight Timer, or link to my Insight Timer practices and courses, and just an invitation that we are love, and that our job is to remove the obstacles that are in the way of us being love.
I couldn't say it any better myself. How about you, Charlie?
No, what could I add to that? That was great.
Okay, we'll take that. And I want to thank both of you for being here today. And as I said at the beginning of this podcast, please re-listen to this at least once or twice, and then share it with your friends, share it with your enemies, share it with people who you love, share it with people you don't love. Just get it out there so that you can hear another perspective on how to shift your mindset. And I want everybody to go to shiftit.com. And for those of you who are listening and want a free book, go to my website at askjoannedevictoria.com, and you will find your own free book called The True Self Handbook, a guide to transform your life. I want to thank Charlie and Maureen for being here today, because this has been wonderful and I really appreciate it. And I wish you both a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sanity Project podcast. Please go to AskJoanneVictoria.com to listen to more podcasts. Check out Joanne's coaching programs and get a free copy of her report, 5 Steps to Achieve Life-Work Harmony. That's AskJoanneVictoria.com. Take care, and thanks for being here.